ang isang motorista sa likod ng kotse sa kahabaan ng highway sa Australia. Aalamin natin kung ano na ang lagay ng biktima mula sa balitang ibabahagi maya-maya. Magandang gabi, ako si Rikki, Alagao, Flores at ito ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong Miyerkules ng gabi. Pilipinas naghain ng diplomatic protest laban sa China declared baseline sa Bajo de Masinloc. Dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte hinamon ng International Criminal Court na bilisan ang investigasyon nila sa war on drugs. Australia nanawagan ng fair trade sa Estados Unidos. China ay tinampok ang pinakabagong military hardware sa Zhuhai Air Show. At bilang ng nasawi sa hit-and-run attack sa China, umakyat na sa 35 katao. Isang diplomatic protest ang inihain ng Pilipinas laban sa baselines at base points ng China sa paligid ng Bajo de Masinloc o Scarborough Shoal. Ito na ang pinakabagong hakbang ng Beijing para sa kanilang illegal seizure sa naturang features ng West Philippine Sea. Ayon kay Department of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza, naihain ang diplomatic protest ng DFA nitong Martes. Sinabi naman ng National Maritime Council o NMC na ang baselines ng China ay isang drawn violation sa soberanya ng Pilipinas sa naturang shoal. Giit ng konseho na hindi rin pasok sa criteria ng United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea o UNCLOS ang baselines ng China. Paliwanag ng NMC, magagamit lamang ang baselines alinsunod sa criteria at conditions na hinihingi ng UNCLOS batay sa nakasaad na 2016 Arbitral Award. Binigyan din ng NMC na noon pa man ay soberanya at jurisdiksyon na ng Pilipinas ang Bajo de Masinloc alinsunod sa international law. Wala pang isang linggo matapos aprubahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang Maritime Zones Act, ay agad naglabas ang Beijing ng sarili nitong baselines at corresponding base points sa Scarborough Shoal. Giit ng Chinese Foreign Ministry na nasa kanila ang soberanya ng Bajo de Masinloc kung saan ay tinatawag nilang Huangyan Dao o Huangyan Island. Muling nagbabala ang China sa Pilipinas, naggaganti ito laban sa umunay paglabag at probation nito sa pinag-aagawang teritoryo sa West Philippine Sea.
你刚才提到非方有关人士的言论，我在这里要指出的是，每一次中非海上的争议升级，都是因为非方的侵权挑衅引起的。非方侵权在先。 中方不得不依法采取必要的措施，维护自身的合法权益。如果非方不再侵权挑衅，海上的局势就不会再起风波。
Inihayag ni Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian, kasalanan umano ng Pilipinas sa patuloy ang pagtaas ng tensyon sa kasalukuyang maritime situation sa naturang karagatan. Anya ang Pilipinas ang nagpo-provoke umano sa China. Giit naman ni Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr., ang China ang promotor sa tensyon sa rehiyon. Paliwanag ng kalihim na ang China ang may demand na isuko ng Pilipinas ang sovereign rights nito sa disputed waters.
What we see is an increasing demand by Beijing for us to concede our sovereign rights in the area because of our need to explore and exploit the resources in these areas for the benefit of our own people. And that is clear. We don't need to enter into a geopolitical nexus for determining the root cause of the problem because we are direct victims of Chinese aggression. In this and in a concentrated area thus far in the West Philippine Sea.
Sa ibang balita, muling itinuloy ng Quad Committee ng mababang kapulungan ng Kongreso ang pagdinig para sa investigasyon sa war on drugs ng Duterte administration. Ito ay matapos dumating si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa Kamara kahit pa idineklara na kanselado ang nasabing pagdinig ngayong araw. Mula rito ay hinamon ng dating Pangulong International Criminal Court o ICC na daliin o bilisan ang kanilang investigasyon sa extrajudicial killings o EJK sa kanyang administrasyon. Inako rin ni Duterte ang responsibilidad sa mga naging pinsala ng kanyang giyera kontra droga.
I assume full responsibility for whatever happened in the actions taken by the law enforcement agencies of this country to stop the drugs or the serious problem of the drugs affecting our people.
Dumalo rin sa pagdinig ang pamilya ng umano'y mga biktima ng EJK sa kasagsagan ng war on drugs, kung saan ay dito nila isinalaysay sa harap ng dating Pangulo ang kanilang karanasan na hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa nakukuha ang hustisya. Samantala, wala pang 10 minuto ay inaprubahan na ng Senado ang 733 million pesos na budget ng Office of the Vice President o OVP para sa susunod na taon. Matatandaan na pinagtibay ng Senate panel ang desisyon ng House of Representatives na ibaba sa 733 million pesos ang OVP budget mula sa orihinal na 2 billion pesos na iminungkahi sa National Expenditure Program. Sa Senate plenary deliberations ay hindi na nagtanong ang mga senador, ngunit nagmosyon si Senador Bongo at umipela na ibalik ang budget para sa social services ng OVP. Ayon kay Go, ang pagbabawas ng OVP budget ay makaaapekto sa mga tulong na ginagawa ng OVP, kabilang na anya rito ang livelihood projects, educational, medical, burial assistance at calamity aids. Sinabi naman ni Vice President Sara Duterte na kung maaaprubahan ang 733 million pesos OVP 2025 budget sa ilalim ng General Appropriations Act, ay posibleng mawala ng trabaho ang mahigit 200 tauhan ng OVP. Anya, karamihan sa mga mawawala ng trabaho ay yung mga pumapasok sa satellite offices ng OVP. Inilunsad ng Philippine Navy ang kauna-unahang Fast Attack Interdiction Craft Missile o FAICM na binuo ng bansa sa lungsod ng Cavite nitong Nobyembre 2. Binigyan diin ni Navy Chief Vice Admiral Toribio Adasi Jr. na ipinapakita ng Pilipinas ang muling pagtuon sa pagpapaunlad ng kakayahan sa paggawa ng barko sa bansa. Nagkaroon ng isang seremonya na tradisyonal na ginagawa ng Navy para sa unang pagpasok sa tubig ng mga bagong barko. Ang BRP Albert Magini o Mahini ay bahagi ng kabuuang siyam na Fast Attack Interdiction Craft Missile Vessels na ihahatid ng Israeli Shipyards Limited. Mayroong quick intercept capabilities ang barkong ito dahil sa 40 knot na maximum speed nito. Napanatili ng Typhoon Ophel ang lakas nito habang patuloy na tinatahak ang daang patungong northern ayon sa pag-asa. Ayon sa datos ng State Weather Bureau, bandang alas 4 ng hapon, namataan ang bagyong Ophel sa 480 km silangan ng Balera, Aurora. Gumagalaw ito sa direksyong pahilagang kanluran sa bilis na 25 km per hour na may maximum sustained winds ng 120 km per hour at gustiness ng 150 km per hour. Nakataas na ang Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal number 2 sa bahagi ng Cagayan, Babuyan Islands, northern portion at eastern portions ng Isabela at eastern portion ng Apayao. Signal number 1 naman sa Batanes, rest of Isabela, Quirino, northern portion ng Nueva Vizcaya, Apayao, Kalinga, Abra, Mountain Province, Ifugao, Ilocos Norte at northern portion ng Aurora. Samantala, batay sa forecast ng pag-asa, inaasahang papasok sa loob ng Philippine Area of Responsibility ang Tropical Storm Manny bukas ng gabi at tatawagin itong Bagyong Pepito. Inanunsyo ng Manila Electric Company o Meralco na magtataas ito ng singil sa kuryente ngayong buwan ng Nobyembre. Ayon sa Meralco, madaragdagan ng 0.4274 pesos per kilowatt hour ang singil sa kuryente kung saan ay aabot o posibleng aabot ang kabuang singil na 11.8569 pesos per kilowatt hour mula sa nakaraang singil noong Oktubre na 11.4295 pesos per kilowatt hour. Ibig sabihin, may dagdag na 85 pesos ang babayaran ng mga tahanang kumukonsumo ng 200 kilowatt hour per month. Sinabi ni Meralco Vice President at Head of Corporate Communications, Joe Zaldariaga, tumaas ang singil sa kuryente ngayong buwan dahil sa pagtaas ng generation charges at transmission charges. Susunod, China ay pinakita ang mga bagong military equipment sa Zhuhai Air Show. Houthis nagsagawa ng military operations sa Red at Arabian Sea. At Joe Biden tinanggap si Israeli President Isaac Herzog sa White House. Yan at iba pang detalye ng mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Why choose Supreme Pure Organic Barley? It is 100% pure organic barley straight from Australia. Certified super brands. The first alkaline-based barley in the Philippines. High pH level, 7.9 alkaline level, 68 micronutrients, non-acidic. It helps boost immune system, improves digestion, high in antioxidants, regulates blood sugar level and cholesterol. Waglan Basta Barley. Dapat alkaline-based Supreme Pure Organic Barley.
Nanawagan si Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese ng isang fair trade sa Washington sa phone call nila ni US President-elect Donald Trump. Ibinahagi ni Albanese ang isyong ito sa isang interview kung saan binigyang diin niya ang trade surplus na nakukuha ng Estados Unidos mula sa Australia dahil sa malaking paggastos nito sa defenses. Kamakailan, iminungkahi ni Trump ang isang 10% tariff sa lahat ng import sa US at 10% levy naman sa mga produktong gawa sa China. Nagdulot ito ng takot sa mga bansang nakikipagkalakalan sa Estados Unidos kasama ang Australia na mayroong deal kasama ang Washington na makatatanggap ng nuclear-powered submarines. Ipinakita ng China ang kanilang mga bagong military equipment sa pinakamalaking air show ng bansa sa Zhuhai. Kabilang sa showcase ang pinakabagong bersyon ng stealth fighters, drones at isang air defense system bukod pa sa iba't ibang uri ng mga munition. Bagaman sinasabi ng ilang eksperto na ito'y pagpapakita ng ambisyon ng Beijing, tinanggihan ito ng lokal na media at iginiit na layon lang ng China ang ipakita ang kakayahan na protektahan ang kanilang soberanya. Samantala nakumpirma na ang paglabas ng isa sa mga pinakadelikadong armas na nakita noong nakaraang buwan sa military exercise ng China sa paligid ng Taiwan, isang updated na bersyon ng bomber na ginamit noong Cold War. Ayon sa Pentagon, ang aircraft na ito na tinatawag na jet-powered H-6 ay may kakayahang maglunsad ng mga ballistic missiles na may dalang nuclear warheads. Magsasagawa ang Estados Unidos, South Korea at Japan ng 3-day military exercise simula Miyerkules kasama ang nuclear-powered aircraft carrier na USS George Washington. Ang tinatawag na Freedom Edge exercise ay bilang pagtugon sa mga banta mula sa North Korea na kamakailan lamang ay nagsagawa ng isang ICBM test. Bukod sa aircraft carrier, kasama sa military drill ang mga fighter jets at warships ng South Korea at ng Japan. Wala pang masyadong detalye na ibinigay ukol sa exercise bukod sa pagkakaroon ng maritime missile defense training at cyber defense training. Nakipagpulong si United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken kay NATO's Secretary General Mark Rutte sa Brussels upang masiguro ang suporta ng Estados Unidos para sa Ukraine bago sila'y tuluyang mapalitan ng administrasyon ni President-elect Donald Trump. Ilang beses na kasing kwinwestiyon ni Trump ang suportang binibigay ng Estados Unidos sa Kiev kung saan sinabi nitong nais niyang wakasan agad ang giyera sa pagitan ng Ukraine at Russia. Ikinabahala naman ng mga kaalyado ng US ang pahayag na ito dahil posibleng pilitin ni Trump na sumang-ayon ng Kiev sa mga kondisyon ng Moscow para lang mawakasan na ang giyera. Bago ito mangyari, nais bigyan ni US President Joe Biden ng karagdagang tulong ang Ukraine bago siya bumaba sa pwesto, kung kaya't nasa Belgium si Blinken upang gawin ang lahat ng kanilang makakaya bago dumating ang termino ni Donald Trump. Matapos ang pag-uusap nila ni Rota ay nakatakda naman siyang makipagkita kay NATO's Supreme Allied Commander Europe General Christopher Cavoli, British Foreign Secretary David Lammy at iba pang matataas na opisyal ng European Union. Noong nakaraang Lunes lamang ay nasa Israel si Blinken upang talakayin ang mga bagay na pwedeng gawin ng Israel upang pagandahin ang sitwasyon ng pamumuhay ng mga tao sa Gaza. Maaalalang binigyan ng Estados Unidos ang Israel ng 30-day ultimatum para ayusin ang humanitarian situation sa Gaza, kasama na rin ang pagpayag ng pagpasok ng pagkain at medisina para sa mga Palestino. Sa kabila nito ay sinabi naman ng Israel na sineseryoso nila ang naturang ultimatum at dahan-dahang nagtatrabaho upang maibsan ang paghihirap ng mga tao sa Gaza.
Let me just say this, that the government of Israel takes extremely seriously the letter sent just shy of a month ago to the Israeli government from Secretary Austin and Secretary Blinken. We take extremely seriously the contents of that letter. We have studied it intensely. We have acted upon it with the best will that we can to get as much aid, which is why we say every single day there is no limit to the amount of aid that can get into Gaza. So we are doing our utmost.
Sa ibang balita, magkakasunod ng mga kalamidad ngayon ang tumama sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mundo kung saan libo-libo ang apektado. Ito ay dahil sa matinding hagupit ng bagyo, mga pagbaha, wildfires at maging ang hindi inaasahang pagputok ng bulkan. Kaugnay nito ay pangunahing paksa sa COP29 na maglaan ng mas malaking pondo para sa pandaigdigang climate projects. Aabot sa 200 ang mga bansa ang kabahagi sa isinasagawang COP29 Climate Summit. Layunin ang pagpupulong na mapataas ang pondo para sa mga proyektong makatutulong sa mga bansa na labis na napinsala ng kalamidad. Matatandaan na nangako ang mga mayayamang bansa noong 2009 na magbibigay sila ng kontribusyon para sa $100 bilyong na taunang pondo ng climate projects. Sinundan naman ito ng kanilang pagbabayad noong 2020, ngunit taong 2022 bago nila tuluyang maabot ang kabuuang pondo. Sa kasalukuyan, nakikipagnegosasyon na ang mga kalahok na bansa para sa mas mataas na kontribusyon sa susunod na taon. Giit ng ilan sa kanila ay dapat munang kumpirmahin ang bagong kontribusyon kasama na ang hatian mula sa mga mayayamang bansa. Bukod rito ay pinangangambahan din nila ang muling pag-upo ni Donald Trump bilang Pangulo ng Estados Unidos sa usapin ng pagbabawas sa kontribusyon ng US climate finance. Batay sa datos ay noong 2023 ay nakapagbigay ang US ng $10 bilyong para sa international climate finance. Dagdag pa rito ang European Union na nakapagbigay ng $31 bilyong bilang kontribusyon. Matapos nito ay nagpahayag naman ang iba't ibang mga bansa ng panukalang bagong pondo para sa climate projects. Ayon sa Saudi Arabia ay nasa $1.1 trillion ang dapat na ilaan sa pondo kada taon na magmumula sa developed countries. Samantala, maaaring maharap ang mga bansa sa mas mahinang mga climate projects sa susunod na taon kung hindi ito magkakasundo sa bagong pondo na ilalabas. Ibinunyag ng Houthi group sa Yemen na nagsagawa sila ng military operations sa Red at Arabian Sea.
نفذت القوة الصاروخية وسلاح الجو المسير في القوات المسلحة اليمنية بعون الله تعالى عمليتين عسكريتين نوعيتين. الأولى استهدفت من خلالها حاملة الطائرات الأمريكية إبراهام المتواجدة في البحر العربي، وذلك بعدد من الصواريخ المجنحة والطائرات المسيرة، وذلك أثناء تحضير العدو الأمريكي لتنفيذ عمليات معادية تستهدف بلدنا، وحققت العملية أهدافها بنجاح بفضل الله، وتم إفشال عملية الهجوم الجوي للعدو الأمريكي الذي كان يحضر له على بلدنا.
Sinabi ni Houthi military spokesperson Yahya Sari na tinarget ng grupo ang US aircraft carrier na USS Abraham Lincoln sa Arabian Sea. Gumamit niya sila ng mga cruise missiles at drones sa pag-atake sa Arabian Sea. Sa kabilang operasyon ay tinarget nila ang 2 American destroyers na nasa Red Sea gamit ang ballistic missiles at drones. Ang nasabing operasyon ay hindi titigil hanggat hindi hihinto ang US sa pagsuporta sa Israel at hanggang hindi natatapos ang digmaan sa Gaza at Lebanon.
والعملية الأخرى استهدفت مدمرتين أمريكيتين في البحر الأحمر، وذلك بعدد من الصواريخ البالستية والطائرات المسيرة، وحققت العملية أهدافها بنجاح بفضل الله، وقد استمرت العمليتان 8 ساعات. وعليه تحمل القوات المسلحة اليمنية العدو الأمريكي والبريطاني مسؤولية تحويل منطقة البحر الأحمر إلى منطقة توتر عسكري وتداعيات ذلك على حركة الملاحة البحرية.
Nanawagan si Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sa Iranian citizens na mas kinatatakutan sila ng kanilang pamahalaan kaysa Israel.
Seen but a fraction of our power. Yet there's one thing Khamenei's regime fears more than Israel. You know what it is? It's you, the people of Iran. That's why they spend so much time and money trying to crush your hopes and curb your dreams. Well, I say to you this, don't let your dreams die. I hear your whispers. Women, life, freedom, zan, zandagi, azadi. Don't lose hope and know that Israel and others in the free world stand with you.
Tinutukoy ni Netanyahu ang operasyon sa mga karapatan ng kababaihan na laganap sa Iran. Madalas siyang nananawagan sa mga kalaban ng Israel gaya ng Iran at pati na rin mga sibilyan sa Gaza at sa Lebanon. Noong Martes, sinabi ng State Department na sa kasalukuyan walang assessment ang ginawa kung lumabag nga ba ang Israel sa batas ng Estados Unidos. Ito ay kaugnay ng humanitarian crisis sa Gaza. Narito ang report ni Marjorie Quintos.
Matapos ang ilang pagbabago na ginawa ng Israel upang tugunan ang demands ng Washington kamakailan ukol sa humanitarian crisis sa Gaza, sinabi ng State Department na walang pagsusuring na ganap kung lumabag ba ang Israel sa kahit anong batas ng Estados Unidos. Ngunit sinabi ni Deputy Spokesperson Vedant Patel na nais makakita ng US ng mga pagbabago at patuloy nitong susuriin ang pagtugon ng Israel sa batas ng US.
We at this time have not made an assessment that that the Israelis are in violation of U.S. law, but most importantly, we are going to continue to watch how these steps that they've taken, how they are being implemented, how that they can be continued to be expanded on, and through that, we're going to continue to assess their compliance with U.S. law.
Samantala, sinabi ni Patel na batid nila ang napakasamang kalagayan ng Gaza. Layon anya ng US na makakita ng mga hakbang sa ikabubuti ng kalagayan doon. At sakaling may mapatunayang paglabag ang Israel, ani Patel, tatapatan ito ng US ng karampatang aksyon. Marjorie Quintos para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Tinanggap ni outgoing US President Joe Biden si Israeli President Isaac Herzog sa White House bago matapos ang Gaza aid deadline.
Welcome back to the Oval Office in the White House. You've been a friend for a long time, a personal friend, and you know my commitment to Israel is ironclad, and we share a deep friendship. I want to thank you again for being here, and the floor is yours.
Sa isang pahayag ay siniguro ni Biden kay Herzog na hindi magbabago ang commitment ng Washington sa Israel dahil sa matagal na nitong pagkakaibigan. Sumagot naman si Herzog kung saan sinabi niyang isang malaking karangalan ang makabisita sa White House. Ang naturang deadline ay ang ultimatum na binigay ng Estados Unidos para payagan ang pagpasok ng tulong mula sa international community papasok sa Gaza. Dagdag pa nito ay dapat papayagan ng Israel na makapasok ang hindi bababa sa 350 trucks na nagdadala ng tulong kada araw. Huling hiniling ng US na payagan ng Jordan ang kanilang mga commercial corridors sa tumakbo o na tumakbo sa full and continuous capacity. Binalaan nila ito na kapag hindi sumunod ang Tel Aviv ay maghihigpit ang Estados Unidos sa Israel pagdating sa pagbigay ng armas at tulong militar. Sinalubong naman ang kaliwat ng batikos ang Israel kung saan sinabi ng ibang grupo na imbis na pagandahin ng Israel ang sitwasyon ng mga tao sa Gaza ay lalo pa itong pinalalala simula noong deadline.
First and foremost, there are various frontiers that we know. One is Lebanon, one is Gaza, of course Iran, and the entire effort of how to change the trajectory of the Middle East towards a better future. I thank the President wholeheartedly for his efforts, and I know that there is an in-depth commitment and effort to move forward, and I hope, sincerely hope, that we will see certain results in the foreseeable future, in the next few days, hopefully, in some of these efforts. So thank you all very much.
Habang inaabangan ang opisyal na resulta ng ilang key races, inaasahang ipapanalo rin ng Republicans ang kontrol ng United States House of Representatives. Noong Martes, ang balita ng projected win ay ikinatuwa at pinagdiwang ng Republican leaders. Narito ang report ni Net25 correspondent Jeff Sanidad.
Noong Lunes, sinabi ng Decision Desk HQ na kokontrolin ng partido ni President-elect Donald Trump ang Senado at House of Representatives sa araw ng panunumpaan nito sa Enero. Magiging madali sa two-time president na itulak ang agenda nitong pagsibak ng buwis at pagpapalit ng federal government. Ngayong Martes, humarap si House Speaker Mike Johnson sa media sa mga hakbang ng US Capitol. Ipinahayag nito ang optimismo tungkol sa pinalawak na mayorya.
We believe we're going to have a larger majority than we had last time. It's too early to handicap it, but we're optimistic about that. But every single vote will count, because if someone gets ill or has a car accident or a late flight on their plane, that it affects the votes on the floor. So I think he and the administration are well in tune to that. I don't expect that we will have more members leaving, but I'll leave that up to him. But yes, are we talking about it? Yes, all the time, and he fully appreciates that.
Samantala, batay sa Edison Research projections, natiyak na ng Republicans ang Senate majority sa 52 to 46. Ayon naman sa DDHQ, mahahawakan din ng mga ito ang hindi bababa sa 218 seats sa House of Representatives kahit na may 8 pang inaantay na resulta. Binigyang diin ni House Majority Whip Tom Emmer ang mandato ng partido. Anya, aalalahanin ng mga botante ang seguridad sa border, presyo ng mga bilihin, at krimen.
1 week ago today, Americans elected a Republican president, a Republican Senate, and a Republican House with a mandate for change, a mandate for more affordable cost of living, secure borders, less crime in our streets, and a restoration of American dominance on the world stage, a mandate to put America first and make this country great again.
Ibinahagi rin ni Johnson ang talakayan nila ni Trump ukol sa ipupwestong mga tao at kung paano nila maaapektuhan ang House Majority. Sila anya ay magpupulong sa Alagao sa weekend. Ang bagong Kongreso ay magsisimula at 3 ng Enero taong 2025. Manunumpa naman ang administrasyon ni Trump sa 20 ng buwang ding yon. Jeff Sanidad, Washington, D.C. para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nadagdagan ang mga gabineteng itinatalaga ni US President-elect Donald Trump. Sa pinakahuling anunsyo nito ay itinalaga niya si Florida Republican Senator Mike Waltz bilang kanyang National Security Advisor. Napili rin ito si dating Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee bilang susunod na US Ambassador to Israel. Inaasahan na rin na itatalagan niya si Florida Senator Marco Rubio bilang kanyang Secretary of State habang napili niya si Governor Kristi Noem bilang kanyang susunod na Secretary of Department of Homeland Security. Kinausap din ni Trump si Pete Hegseth, Fox News host at combat veteran para maging Defense Secretary at si John Ratcliffe bilang kanyang Director of National Defense. Itinalaga naman ni Trump ang tech tycoon at billionaire na si Elon Musk para pangunahan ang bagong Department of Government Efficiency. Sa ilalim ng bagong departamento, magbibigay ito ng payo at gabay sa labas ng gobyerno. Ibig sabihin, hindi ito uupo sa formal federal government structures. Ang tungkulin ng bagong organisasyon ay para i-dismantle ang bürokrasya sa gobyerno at tapyasan ng spending. Makikipag-partner din ang organisasyon sa White House at sa pre-existing na Office of Management Budget para palakasin ang malakihang structural reform. Kasama naman ni Musk na mamamahala sa naturang organisasyon ang dating Republican primary candidates na si Vivek Ramaswamy. Isang market expert ang nagbabala na ang pambansang utang o national debt ay isang lumalalang suliranin ng Estados Unidos. Ayon kay Robert Conzo na CEO at Managing Director ng The Wealth Alliance, nais ni President-elect Donald Trump na lusutan ng bansa ang U.S. deficit sa pamamagitan ng pagpapalawak ng ekonomiya gamit ang tax cuts at pagmukhang mas maliit ang utang kung ihahambing dito. Ang tanong ni Conzo, saan manggagaling ang pambayad sa tax cuts na ito?
The one issue that both sides of the aisle really don't want to address is the debt of the United States. $39 trillion, a trade deficit of $1.9 trillion, interest rate on our debt is around $860 billion per day. These are big numbers. It's not, I shouldn't say per day, it's per year. It's 17% of our federal spending. What's a little scary about it is if you keep talking about tax cuts, then where's the money going to come for paying this off? Trump era has been, we're going to grow our way out of it, which is a fancy way of saying if debt is this much and the economy is this much, and then the economy becomes that much, well, then the debt is a lower piece of it. And therefore, it's not as concerning. That's called growing your way out of it. But what happens if the economy grows from this to this? Well, then maybe it faltered. Right? So how do you lower it? Well, you lower it by spending less. How do you spend less? You cut spending. Nobody wants to do that. No one wants to talk about raising taxes. The Harris campaign did. That didn't go over too well because people don't like to raise taxes. So there's this double-edged sword that's happening right now. The over-exuberance about lowering taxes, keeping taxes low, and then, well, what happens on the debt side? Someone has to do something about it because it's becoming a major problem for the United States, and that's one of the reasons why you're seeing the bond market react as such, because it's concerned that as that happens, it'll ripple through the economy, and you just have too much debt spending, and that, as we all know, is bad on a personal level, corporate level, or a governmental level.
Dagdag pa ni Conzo, sa kabila ng maraming tinatawag na stock market exuberance sa kasalukuyan, may mga tiyak na bagay na maaaring magbalik sa inflation at magpabagal sa rate cuts ng Federal Reserve.
Right now, there's a lot of exuberance for obvious reasons. People look at their 401ks and see it go up and they're happy. But you have to look through those numbers just a little bit more and decide if these are real and have legs, or are they more of a knee-jerk reaction and over-exuberance. And that gets into an economic outlook. When you look at the third quarter earnings of companies, it was good. Earnings were revised up around 5%. Those are good numbers. You look at GDP, right around 3%. You saw inflation at the last print drop down, although on Wednesday we're going to have a new one. CPI is probably going to tick up a little. That's the expectation, or ticking up a little. So inflation is starting to moderate, which may mean that these Fed cuts that we're talking about, although we just did another 25, the one in December could be off the table. And the 5 rate cuts that we were talking about going from December to 2025 could be extended out longer, or some just taking off the table anyways.
Isang maaaring maging gusot sa pag-usad ng ekonomiya ayon kay Konzo ay ang plano ni Trump na taripa sa imports ng bansa.
He's proposing 60% tariffs on China and 20% tariffs on all other countries. That is huge, and that is a double-edged sword. That's very inflationary, number one. And the effects of that take many years to play out. So I think there's some things you could talk about right now, and other things you kind of have to wait and see.
Susunod, 35 katao patay matapos araruhin ang kotse sa Zhuhai, China. Mike Tyson at Jake Paul nagpakitang gilas bago ang kanilang laban. At John Krasinski tinaguri ang sexiest man alive of 2024. Iba pang detalye ng mga balita sa pagbabalik pa rin ng Mata ng Agila International.
Alam namin ang iyong pagsisikap. Dama namin ang iyong mga sakripisyo. Kita namin ang pagharap mo sa bawat pagsubok. Kaya sa kabila ng mga hamon ng buhay, nandito kami para umalalay. Kasi katulad mo, gusto rin namin ang magandang bukas para sa kanya. Hatid namin ang dekalidad na edukasyon at makabagong pasilidad sa abot kayang halaga. Kaya huwag ka nang mangamba. Sasamahan ka namin tuparin ang mga pangarap niya. Maaasahan mong sulit dito ang mga pinagsikapan mo. Sa aming mga makabagong pasilidad at sistema ng edukasyon. Mailalabas natin ang aking talino at mga kakayahan niya. Kahit sa munting halaga, makakasiguro ka na makakasabay siya sa mabilis na pag-ikot ng mundo. Sa New Era, karamay mo kami sa bawat hamon. Kaagapay mo kami sa bawat hakbang. Kasama mo kami sa bawat ngiti at tagumpay.
Sa Malacanang, si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ay 139 na ang inihain na diplomatic protest ng Pilipinas laban sa China. Nitong Martes lamang ay muling naghain ng diplomatic protest ang Pilipinas upang kondenahin ang maling pagmamarka ng China sa baseline sa Bajo de Masinloc. Ito ang ika-56 na diplomatic protest ng Pilipinas laban sa China para sa taong 2024. Karamihan sa mga dahilan ng diplomatic protests ng Pilipinas ay ang mga pambubuli ng ginagawa ng mga Chinese laban sa mga Pilipinong nangingisda sa West Philippine Sea o WPS. Hindi rin ligtas sa mga opisyal ng Philippine Coast Guard at Philippine Navy dahil maging sila ay nakararanas ng pambubuli ng China sa WPS. Ang panggigipit ng China ay umabot na rin sa himpapawid ng Pilipinas dahil sa tuwing sila ay nagpapaputok ng flares ay tila hindi iniisip ng mga Chinese officials ang kaligtasan ng mga Pilipinong piloto. Sa katunayan ay naglabas din noon ang China ng sarili nilang mapa at itinawag nila itong isang drawing ng Malacanang dahil ipinakita ng mapang ito na halos sinakop ng China ang buong West Philippine Sea. Ang mga maling aksyon ng China at illegal na territorial claims nito sa WPS ang siyang dahilan kung bakit isinabatas ang Philippine Maritime Zones Act at ang Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act. Ang paglagda ni Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa dalawang batas na ito ay mahalagang hakbang upang mamarkahan ng buo ang pambansang teritoryo ng Pilipinas alinsunod sa konstitusyon nito, sa iba pang domestic laws, sa United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea o UNCLOS at sa iba pang international laws. Ang Philippine Maritime Zones Act ay nagtatakda ng limitasyon ng maritime rights at entitlements ng bansa sa WPS o ang lawak ng Exclusive Economic Zone o EEZ, kung saan may eksklusibong karapatan ng Pilipinas na mag-exploit ng natural resources at kung hanggang saan ay may responsibilidad ng Pilipinas na pangalagaan ang likas na yaman nito. Isinasaad ng Maritime Zone Law ang mga katagang West Philippine Sea, talampas ng Pilipinas o Philippine Rise. Samantala, tinutukoy naman ng Philippine Archipelagic Sea Lanes Act ang sea lanes na dinadaanan ng mga dayuhang barko at eroplano. Ipapakita at mamarkahan sa updated at bagong administrative map ng Pilipinas ang Kalayaan Island Group, Bajo de Masinloc, Recto Bank, Philippine Rise. Ngunit hindi ibig sabihin ito na mali ang mga dating mapa ng Pilipinas. Hindi rin ito ibig sabihin na hindi alam ng mga Pilipino kung hanggang saan sa West Philippine Sea ang kanilang maritime rights. Ang mga limitasyon at lawak ng karapatang pandagat ng Pilipinas ay matagal nang itinakda ng UNCLOS. Ito rin ay pinagtibay at lalo pang nilinaw noong taong 2016 dahil sa The Hague ruling. Bakit nga ba mahalaga itong dalawang batas na ito na lalong magpapalakas sa territorial integrity ng Pilipinas? Nangangahulugan ito na para sa mga fisher folk at mga may-ari ng commercial vessels ay alam nila kung saan angkop ang kanilang lisensya at alam din nila kung kailan dapat silang mag-ulat ng mga illegal na poaching o pangingisda ng mga local ships. Proteksyon din ang mga batas na ito hindi lamang sa mga domestic ships kundi maging sa mga foreign ships na naglalayag sa WPS. Mas mapangangalagaan din ng gobyerno ng Pilipinas ang mga gagawing pananaliksik sa mga deposito ng langis, natural gas at mineral sa WPS. Higit sa lahat, poprotektahan ng Pilipinas ang sarili nito laban sa mga iligal na aktibidad na gagawin ng ibang bansa sa West Philippine Sea. Ang paglalabas ng Pilipinas ng updated map nito ay hindi rin nangangahulugan na hindi naaalma ang China. Asahan na patuloy na aalma at magrereklamo ang Beijing sa gagawing mapa ng Pilipinas. Ito ay dahil sa tinatawag na 100-year marathon principle ng China. Ayon sa mga analysts, nagiging mas agresibo ang China sa WPS dahil ito ang gagamitin niyang ruta at paraan upang makamit ang inaasam niyang pangarap na matalo ang Estados Unidos at maging #1 leading country sa buong mundo. Ang nagliliyab na Jennings Creek Fire sa border ng New York at New Jersey ay hindi masupil ayon sa New York Governor. Narito si Myla Simbulan para sa balita.
May 30 milya ang layo pahilagang kanlurang New York. Puminsala na may 5,000 ektarya. Sa kasalukuyan, ito ay 20% contained lamang ayon sa mga otoridad.
Reports are it's contained. We're watching it closely as the winds continue to pick up. But right now, our greatest concern is the Jennings Creek fire here in Orange County. It has spread to over 2,700 acres across the border, 5,000 if you include the acreage across the line with the New Jersey. So 5,000 acre fire, 2,700 acres of which are here in the state of New York. Neither of these fires are controlled or contained at this moment. Some of the residents have been voluntarily evacuated, but I want to emphasize that at this moment, no structures are currently under threat. Last night, we had a very difficult touch-and-go situation.
Kalahati ng containment ay sa New York at ang kalahati naman ay sa New Jersey. Isa na ang nasawi dahil sa Jennings Creek Fire, isang 18 taong gulang na empleyado ng New York State Parks Department. Ayon sa pulisya, namatay si Dariel Vasquez habang sinasagupa ang sunog na umaapoy sa Sterling Forest sa baybayin ng Greenwood Lake. Nanatiling naka-high alert ang lugar. Ayon sa National Weather Service, inaasahan ang patuloy na paglakas ng hangin na aabot ng 72 kilometers per hour. Myla Simbulan para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Umakyat na po sa 35 katao ang nasawi sa naging hit-and-run attack sa Zhuhai, China ayon sa ulat ng pulisya. Hindi bababa sa 43 katao ang nasaktan mula sa pambubundol ng isang 62 anyos na driver. Nahuli naman ng pulisya ang sospek na kinilala bilang si Mr. Fan. Ayon sa lokal na ulat, ginawa ni Mr. Fan ang krimen dahil sa kawalan niya ng kasiyahan dahil sa personal na problema. Kasalukuyang nasa ospital ang sospek matapos makoma mula sa natamo nitong sugat. Ipinabot naman ng Chinese President na si Xi Jinping ang kanyang pakikiramay sa pamilya ng mga biktima at nangakong pananugutin at paparusahan ng taong nasa likod ng pag-atake. Samantala, nagbabala naman ang Japanese Embassy sa Beijing sa mga mamamayan nitong nasa China na iwasan munang magsalita ng malakas sa wikang Nihongo. Ito ay para maingatan ng mga Hapon o mga Japanese na nagbabakasyon o bumibisita sa naturang bansa mula sa kapahamakan. Matatandaang noong Setyembre ay nasawi ang isang Japanese schoolboy sa Shenzhen, China matapos pagsasaksakin. Dito na alarma ang Tokyo sa kaligtasan ng Japanese citizens lalo na sa kakatapos lamang na insidente sa Zhuhai. Patay naman ang nasa 14 na katao sa Pakistan. Ito ay matapos mahulog ng bus sa Indus River. Ayon sa mga otoridad ay sakay ng bus ang nasa 27 pasahero nang mawala ng kontrol sa pagmamaneho ang driver. Patungo sana ang bus sa distrito ng Chakwal bilang bahagi ng kasal ng mahulog ito sa ilog. Pinaghahanap ngayon ang nasa 12 katao habang sugatan naman ang isang pasahero. Babala ng mga opisyal sa mga tao, doblehin ang pag-iingat sa lugar dahil wala itong road signs. Samantala, matatandaan na noong August ay 2 busang na-aksidente sa Pakistan kung saan ay 34 ang nasawi. Nagtamo ng minor injuries sa ilang bahagi ng katawan ng isang motoristang sumalpok sa likuran ng SUV sa isang highway sa Australia. Sa kabila nito ay maswerte ang motorista at hindi ito napuruhan dahil buti na lamang ay lumapag ito sa bubong ng kotse kung saan siya sumalpok. Huli sa dashcam video ang ilang sandali bago maganap ang insidente. Mapapansing nag-o-overtake ang isang motorcycle driver pero nahagip ito ng isang gray na sasakyan na lilipat sana ng lane. Dito na nawala ng kontrol ang motorsiklo at sumalpok sa itim na SUV. Agad namang tumigil sa tabi ng highway ang sasakyan para ibaba ang motorcycle driver. Isang Navy ship ng Estados Unidos ang muntik na sanang scrap at pagpipira-pirasuhin. Ngunit nagdesisyon ng Deep, isang ocean engineering company na nakabase sa United Kingdom, na dalhin sa Europa ang barkong floating instrument platform o FLIP. Tinawag itong FLIP dahil kaya nitong bumaligtad sa dagat na para bang lumulubog, isa kasi itong half ship at half submarine. May haba itong 108 meters at maaaring lumubog ng higit sa 90 meters sa loob ng 30 minuto. Pumapasok ang mahigit 600 tons ng tubig sa loob ng barko at para bumalik ito sa dating itsura ay mayroon itong reverse engine at compression.
So it's the only vessel which you can sink and put back in a floating condition actually, and it's the only vessel on the planet which can work and operate in 2 different configurations, horizontal and vertical. So this is what is making FLIP absolutely unique.
So FLIP is able to transition from horizontal to vertical in about half an hour, and the reverse at sea. The vertical condition is our main operating mode. When she's vertical, she is very, very stable and comfortable, not reacting at all to the sea conditions. So in the roughest seas, FLIP remains immune to this wave action, remains comfortable on board and a stable platform for the scientific operations and data collection being undertaken.
Kapag nasa vertical position ang barko ay kumukuha ito ng data sa paligid upang pag-aralan ng wave dynamics, sound propagation at oceanography. Ginawa ang FLIP para sa acoustic research ng US Navy noong taong 1962, noong nakaraang taon ay dinicommission na ito. Ayon sa kumpanyang Deep, gagamitin nila ang barkong Flip para sa pananaliksik ng marine space.
We're really thrilled to see that the community within the science and research and marine space are incredibly excited to see that Flip is going to have a new chapter, and the engagement that we'll have with them through the discovery phase is going to determine how we prioritize where she should be deployed first. She's never operated in the Mediterranean before. We're really excited to see her come and work here, but we want to ensure that she can operate safely with a global footprint, so she can go anywhere in the world and achieve what she's been built to do for anyone and anywhere safely.
Nasa development na ang panibagong smart eyeglasses ng Amazon na ilalaan para gamitin ng mga delivery drivers para maging guide sa kanilang mga deliveries. Ayon sa Amazon, layo nitong tulungan ang kanilang mga delivery drivers sa pamamagitan ng turn-by-turn navigation sa isang maliit na embedded screen. Ibig sabihin, madaling malalaman ng mga empleyado ang tatahaking ruta para ligtas na maihatid ang mga parcels sa kanilang mga customer. Binansag ganito ng Amazon bilang Amelia kung saan ay layo ng kumpanya na maging katulad ng eco-frame smart glasses nito. Sa kasalukuyan, humahanap ng paraan ng Amazon para sa mas heavy-duty na performance ng smart glasses. Ilan sa mga ito ay kung paano pahahabain ang buhay ng baterya ng smart glasses hanggang sa 8 oras na shift. Ang hakbangin na ito ng Amazon ay pinaniniwala ang bahagi ng proyekto ng kumpanya na bawasan ang delivery cost nito para sa kompetisyon nito laban sa Walmart. Nagsagawa ng pampublikong anunsyo o pag-ensayo si former World Heavyweight Champion Mike Tyson at YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul upang ipromote ang kanilang inaabangan laban sa Biyernes. Makakalaban ng 58-year-old na si Tyson si Paul na halos 31 na taong mas bata sa kanyang kalaban, ngunit mayroon lamang siyang 10 laban sa kanyang professional record. Si Iron Mike na may 50 wins at 6 losses sa kanyang buong career ay mayroong 44 knockouts sa kanyang karera, ngunit noong taong 2005 pa ang huli nitong laban sa loob ng boxing ring. Si Paul naman ay may 9-1 record sa kanyang paglaban sa mga dating MMA fighters at hindi mga boksingero. Ang kanyang tanging pagkatalo ay nanggaling kay Tommy Fury na nakababatang kapatid naman ni former heavyweight champion boxer na si Tyson the Gypsy King Fury. Samantala, isa-isa nang dumarating sa bansa ang mga manlalaro ng Gilas Pilipinas para sa nalalapit na FIBA Asia Cup sa darating na linggo. Mula kasi sa mga liga nilang sinalihan sa ibang bansa ay nasa bansa na sina Kai Soto at guard na si Dwight Ramos, habang inaasahan naman na sa mga susunod na araw ay darating sina AJ Edu at Carl Tamayo. Sinabi ni Gilas Team Manager Richard Del Rosario na darating ngayong araw si AJ habang si Carl ay sa 15. Agad na didiretso sa Tamayo sa Inspire Sports Academy sa Laguna kung saan magsisimula sa araw ng Biyernes ang kanilang training camp. Sa nasabing 4 na manlalaro ay tanging si Edu ang maglalaro sa pamumuno ni Head Coach Tim Cone. Unang makakaharap ng Gilas ang New Zealand sa Nobyembre 21 at susundan ang Hong Kong sa Nobyembre 24. You're the man. Yan ay matapos kilalaning 2024 Sexiest Man Alive si John Krasinski laban sa ibang mga gwapong artista. Ikinatuwa ng aktor at ng kanyang asawa na marinig ang balita na siya ay nanguna sa Sexiest Man Alive ngayong taon. Bumida naman si Krasinski bilang Jim Halpert sa US version ng mockumentary sitcom na The Office. Dagdag pa rito ang kanyang series na Jack Ryan kung saan siya ay isang titular CIA analyst na mapapanood sa Prime Video. Bukod rito ay naging direktor at manunulat din siya sa pelikulang A Quiet Place noong taong 2018 at sa sequel nito noong 2020. Samantala, kabilang sa mga dating itinanghal na People's Sexiest Man Alive ay sina Patrick Dempsey, Chris Evans, Michael B. Jordan, Paul Rudd at John Legend. Handang laging narito po kami para maghatid ng balita saan mang dako ng mundo. Muli ako po si Rikki Alagao Flores at ito ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga balitang nangyari sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta naman tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Mata ng Agila World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for Net25 World News on tonight's headlines. President-elect Donald Trump is eyeing key campaign priorities as he considers trusted allies for influential roles in his administration. Leading the shortlist are Kristi Noem for Homeland Security and Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, each poised to drive his vision on border security and foreign policy.
The U.S. State Department has confirmed that it will not limit arms transfer to Israel despite earlier threats to do so if progress wasn't made in increasing aid to the region. While Israel has made some headway in boosting assistance, international aid organizations argue that the Israeli government hasn't met U.S. demands for more humanitarian support.
The severe restrictions imposed by Israel on the entry and distribution of goods and services necessary for the survival of the civilian population brought the risk of famine and starvation to Gaza.
I showed you 900 trucks worth of aid that simply languishes in the sun at Kerem Shalom. This is aid which the UN should have picked up and should have delivered. They have not.
Across Europe, with its rich blend of cultures and communities, acts of kindness bring people together in meaningful ways. Individuals united to share resources and uplift one another, demonstrating that kindness knows no borders.
Today, we're here in Hamburg, Germany, where the Church of Christ, in partnership with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, is reaching out to communities through the Care for Humanity event.
And the news starts now. The Philippine government said it would not stand in the way if former President Rodrigo Duterte wants to surrender to the International Criminal Court and would be obliged to comply if his arrest was sought over his war on drugs. During a congressional hearing into the bloody crackdown on narcotics, Duterte said he was not scared of the ICC and told it to hurry up on its investigation into his possible crimes against humanity.
I'm asking the ICC to hurry up, and if possible, they can come here and start the investigation tomorrow. This issue has been left hanging for so many years. And if I am found guilty, I will go to prison and rot there for all time.
During a House committee hearing, former President Duterte and Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas clashed over the war on drugs. Duterte once again took full responsibility for the deaths that occurred during his campaign against illegal drugs.
About drugs, I have to issue or make a policy statement about drugs. But all that happened, yung nangyari pursuant to my order to stop the drug problem in this country, akin yun. Akin yun. Ako ang nagbigay ng order kasi ginawa nila illegal or legal, akin yun.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I take full responsibility for it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yun po yung tanong ko. Yung families of innocent extrajudicial killings, kayo din.
Fire litigation court.
Mr. Chair.
Problema, nandiyan ang korte.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Second question ko. Responsable kayo kasi polisiya nyo yun. Kumbaga, tatak Duterte. Dahil polisiya nyo rin yan, tama ba? Sa Davao. Nung nasa Davao pa kayo. Tama ba na tawagin po itong Davao model or Davao style, Mr. Chair?
I cannot control the semantics.
Mr. Chair, yes or no? Davao style.
Do not ask me to answer yes or no. You are not an investigator.
Mr. Chair, tayo po ay nasa investigasyon kasalukuyan,
Yes,
Mr.
but you
Chair.
are not an investigator. Why are you asking me to answer
Mr.
yes
Chair,
or no?
tinatanong ko na...
Yes, point of order. Maybe it is, perhaps the former president would like to elaborate on his answer. We may ask questions that is answerable by yes or no, and as much as possible, we would ask the resource person to say, only answer yes or no. But if he wishes to elaborate, and as long as it is germane and related to the answer to your question, we will allow that. But
Ang tinatanong ko lang, sa particular question na yun, maaari naman siyang sagutin ng yes or no, and then the explanation, Mr. Chair.
Opo.
Do not control my answer, Your Honor. This is not an inquisition. It's a democratic process of investigation.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
President-elect Donald Trump is eyeing key campaign priorities as he considers trusted allies for influential roles in his administration. Leading the shortlist are Kristi Noem for Homeland Security and Marco Rubio for Secretary of State, each poised to drive his vision on border security and foreign policy. Take a look. In his latest staffing announcements, Donald Trump is doubling down on his commitment to loyalists who share his goals, from limiting U.S. involvement in foreign conflicts to his flagship policy of securing the border. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, known for her hardline stance on immigration, is a top candidate
will
for
make
Homeland
America
Security Secretary.
wealthy again. And with President Trump in the White House, with Senator J.D. Vance by his side, we will prove it across America.
The only person in the race that I trust to do what needs to be done on these issues is President Trump.
If confirmed, she would lead efforts to deport millions of undocumented immigrants, joining key players like border czar Tom Homan and policy architect Stephen Miller. With over 260,000 employees, DHS is responsible for agencies like ICE and Customs and Border Protection. But Noem would also oversee the Secret Service, FEMA, and more. Noem, considered a close ally of Trump, was one of the first Republican governors to endorse his campaign. She was even in the running for vice president until a controversial story in her memoir revealing she had to put down her dog sparked some public backlash. Trump is also assembling a robust foreign policy team, including Florida Senator Marco Rubio as potential Secretary of State.
And they want for our leaders to care more about our problems here at home than about the problems of other countries far away.
And the core of this is the country was better off when Trump was president. Whether you like everything he says or not, that's the bottom line. And that's how most Americans are going to end up voting, is who are they better off on?
And Florida Congressman Mike Waltz as National Security Advisor. Both are known for a strong stance on China and are expected to push for an aggressive strategy. Trump's approach includes plans for massive tariffs on Beijing, citing the rapid expansion of China's military and its actions in the South China Sea, cyber attacks, and satellite teams. Waltz is a decorated Green Beret veteran, and he would bring his military experience to the national security team.
The question I can't get anyone to ask that was involved with this, and I've talked to a number, is why did the Taliban pick those 5? Out of all of the spectrum of folks they could have chosen out of Guantanamo, why did we give them essentially their top 5 draft picks?
We went out to OPMED.
Now, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump said that Elon Musk and former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy will now lead the newly created Department of Government Efficiency. Take a look.
Take over, Eli. Just take over.
Donald Trump has kept his promise to offer billionaire Elon Musk a role in his administration.
The president-elect said in a statement that Musk and former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy will lead the newly created Department of Government Efficiency. He added the pair, quote, will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies. The appointments reward two Trump supporters from the private sector. Musk, the world's richest person, leads electric car company Tesla, social media platform X, and rocket company SpaceX. He gave millions of dollars to support Trump's presidential run and often joined him on the campaign trail. The acronym of the new department, DOGE, coincides with the name of the cryptocurrency Dogecoin that Musk promotes. In a social media post about the new department, he said, quote, threat to democracy? Nope, threat to bureaucracy. Ramaswamy is the founder of a pharmaceutical company who threw his support behind Trump after dropping out of the race himself. Trump said the pair's work would conclude by July 4th, 2026, and that a smaller and more efficient government would be a gift to the country on its 250th anniversary.
Radcliffe, if you would rise and raise your right hand.
Trump on Tuesday also picked former top U.S. spy and close ally John Ratcliffe to serve as CIA director. After his stint as the director of national intelligence at the end of Trump's first term, Ratcliffe went on to co-chair a think tank advocating Trump positions. He also advised on national security policy during Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. Trump tapped Fox News commentator Pete Hegseth to be his Secretary of Defense. The veteran has expressed disdain for the so-called woke policies of Pentagon leaders. He could make good on Trump's promises to rid the military of generals who he accuses of pursuing progressive policies on diversity in the ranks.
Tensions over the situation in Gaza continue to escalate, with both progress and setbacks in efforts to address the humanitarian crisis. And the U.S. weighs in on the issue as international pressure mounts for more action. Take a look.
The U.S. State Department has confirmed that it will not limit arms transfer to Israel, despite earlier threats to do so if progress wasn't made in increasing aid to the region. While Israel has made some headway in boosting assistance, international aid organizations argue that the Israeli government hasn't met U.S. demands for more humanitarian support.
We're slowly dying, on one side from the attacks and from hunger, the lack of food, and closed crossings on the other. All for nothing. I swear we wake up every morning filled with worry. We wish it could stay night, to just sleep and not wake up, so we don't have to wonder what we'll eat or drink. We are living a slow death. The amount of food the children get is decreasing every day, and their health is getting worse daily. There's no proper food. Even if they eat this small piece, it's barely enough to sustain them. They're all liars. They're lying to the people. The United States is standing with Israel against us. They are all united against us. I wish they would drop a nuclear bomb on us to save us from this life. We are not living. This is not a life. Let them drop a nuclear bomb and end it. I don't want this life we're living. We are dying slowly. Have mercy on us. Look at these children.
The severe restrictions imposed by Israel on the entry and distribution of goods and services necessary for the survival of the civilian population brought the risk of famine and starvation to Gaza. We again recall that the use of starvation of the civilian population as a method of warfare is strictly prohibited under international humanitarian law.
The government of Israel takes extremely seriously the letter sent just shy of a month ago to the Israeli government from Secretary Austin and Secretary Blinken. We take extremely seriously the contents of that letter. We have studied it intensely. We have acted upon it with the best will that we can to get as much aid, which is why we say every single day there is no limit to the amount of aid that can get into Gaza. So we are doing our utmost I showed you 900 trucks worth of aid that simply languishes in the sun at Kerem Shalom. This is aid which the UN should have picked up and should have delivered. They have not. The failings are not with Israel. We are willing to get as much aid as possible through. If countries send the aid will go in after it has been inspected. That is our objective.
At a State Department briefing today, officials defended their stance. Vedant Patel, Principal Deputy Spokesperson, stated this.
We at this time have not made an assessment that that the Israelis are in violation of U.S. law, but most importantly, we are going to continue to watch how these steps that they've taken, how they are being implemented, how that they can be continued to be expanded on, and through that, we're going to continue to assess their compliance with U.S. law.
A New York judge has postponed his decision on whether to uphold President-elect Donald Trump's hush money conviction, granting an additional week for both sides to present their arguments. Judge Juan Merchan was set to make a ruling today, but is allowing more time after the Supreme Court's recent ruling on presidential immunity and Trump's election win.
The judge in Donald Trump's hush money case has put off ruling on whether the president-elect's conviction should be thrown out on immunity grounds. That enables prosecutors to weigh next steps following his November 5th election victory. Trump had argued the U.S. Supreme Court's July decision that presidents are immune from prosecution involving their official acts meant the New York State case should be dismissed. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office countered that the ruling has no bearing on the case, which they said concerned, quote, wholly unofficial conduct. Justice Juan Merchan had been due to make a decision on Tuesday. Instead, email correspondence showed that Merchan granted a request by Bragg's office to have until November 19th to consider how to approach the case in light of Trump's looming inauguration in January. Trump's scheduled November 26th sentencing is now widely expected to be postponed. The billionaire in May became the first former or sitting U.S. president to be convicted of a crime, when a Manhattan jury found him guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to cover up a potential sex scandal in 2016. Trump has portrayed that case and the 3 other state and federal criminal indictments brought last year as politically motivated attempts to harm his presidential campaign. He has pleaded not guilty in all 4 cases and has vowed to appeal the New York verdict after sentencing.
And the news continues here on Net 25. We'll be right back.
Dahil walang hinto ang balita.
Financial straits.
Mata ng Agila Weekend tuwing Sabado, alas 4 ng hapon. Ito ang Net 25. Matatag, matapag, matapak.
Let's net together sa Net 25. Sa Net 25.
News from Indonesia, where a volatile volcano has once again roared back to life. Mount Lewatobi-Laki-Laki on Flores Island erupted, sending massive plumes of ash skywards. Take a look. Mount Lewatobi-Laki-Laki on Flores Island erupted today, sending massive plumes of ash skyward. And this latest blast follows dramatic scenes just hours earlier when rivers of lava poured down the mountain slopes. The volcano, which towers more than 5,000 feet above sea level, has been restless since early November. More than 12,000 residents have already fled their homes. The eruption is creating chaos for travelers across the region. Major airlines, including Qantas, Jetstar, and Singapore Airlines, have grounded flights to Bali as volcanic ash clouds soar nearly 6 miles high. The popular tourist destination of Lombok is also cut off, with Indonesia State News Agency reporting all flights there have been cancelled.
We were meant to fly out this morning, and we got information last night saying there's no more flights on Jetstar for us to fly out. So they rebooked us for another week, but we can't stay another week. I've got to go home to 3 kids, so hopefully we can catch a flight to get out of here today.
The head of the Church of England stepped down today following mounting pressure regarding his involvement in an abuse cover-up. An investigation found that Justin Welby did not report a serial abuser to the authorities after learning of the situation in 2013.
The leader of the Church of England resigned today amid growing pressure over his role in an abuse cover-up scandal. An investigation revealed that Justin Welby failed to report a serial abuser to the police when he became aware of the situation in 2013. In a statement, Welby accepted both personal and institutional responsibility, saying, "I hope this decision shows how seriously the Church of England understands the need for change." As Archbishop of Canterbury, Welby was the symbolic head of the Anglican Communion, which has over 85 million members in 165 countries. The resignation comes amid new testimony from a survivor of abuse at the hands of John Smith, a church volunteer described in the recent report as the most prolific serial abuser associated with the Church of England. Andrew Moore, speaking to the BBC on Tuesday, recounted the repeated beatings he endured from Smith over 4 years, starting at age 17. Moore said the abuse led him to contemplate suicide.
The way that his sort of modus operandi, because I believe he was a predator even in those days, was that he picked on a few boys within that group and befriended us, invited us back out to lunch at his family home, and slowly over the years became a sort of father figure to me, in the sense that I'd been sent away to school at the age of 7, initially to prep school, and then following that to public school at Winchester. My parents, although very loving and the best parents I could wish to have, were distant. And that was the opportunity that John Smythe saw to infiltrate himself in my life. At around the age of 16, 17, he started introducing to me the notion that I was sinning and that I needed to mark those sins in a form of repentance that really would mean something to the Lord. And his suggestion to that was beatings. He drew on various Old Testament verses to support his argument. And those beatings started for us around the age of 17. On my 21st birthday, John Smythe told me that I was still sinning and that required what he called a special beating. That was beatings of hundreds of lashes of a cane. And at that point, I realized that I couldn't take things any longer. And I firstly wrote a couple of anonymous letters to Christian leaders and to John Smythe. But when those had no effect, I decided that I would take my own life.
The Mackin report published last week revealed that Smith, a British lawyer, subjected over 100 boys and young men to brutal and horrific physical and sexual abuse over a 40-year period. And some victims were beaten up to 800 strokes of a cane, with Smith providing nappies to absorb the bleeding. He would then drape himself over the victims, sometimes kissing them on the neck or back.
Across Europe, with its rich blend of cultures and communities, acts of kindness bring people together in meaningful ways. Individuals united to share resources and uplift one another, demonstrating that kindness knows no borders. Vanessa Gowert with more.
Ecclesiastical District of Britain South, the Care for Humanity event brought together those in the community, care packages distributed, providing immediate relief to those in need. Further north, in partnership with the Black County Food Bank, canned food donations assisted families throughout the community, facing food insecurities through the Care for Humanity event.
Yeah, we're absolutely overwhelmed with gratitude for the donation. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So we're in the middle of harvest, which is a time of year when we replenish our shelves. So this will help absolutely so much, so many families in need. We're really grateful.
Today, we're here in Hamburg, Germany, where the Church of Christ, in partnership with the Felix Y. Manalo Foundation, is reaching out to communities through the Care for Humanity event. This is just one of the many locations across Europe hosting this event, aimed at demonstrating our love for others and uplifting their spirits with hope and compassion.
Ich finde, das ist ein Ding, was nicht wirklich jede Kirche machen würde. Ohne was zurückzubekommen. Ich bin dankbar, dass es sowas gibt. Und ja, es macht mich glücklich.
Here in Central Europe, au pairs and Filipino nurses were honored for their dedication and care, as care packages were handed out as a thank you for tirelessly serving the community.
As a healthcare provider here in Germany, by this means of care for humanity it helps a lot through difficult times.
Over in Spain, dedicated volunteers stepped up to make a difference, reaching out to the local community with much needed assistance. Through their compassion and efforts, they provided vital support to individuals and families.
Bueno, pues será un gran beneficio para muchas familias que vienen todos los días a pedir ayuda. Vienen al ropero, vienen a entrevistas legales con una abogada y bueno, los días que hay banco de alimentos con frutas y verduras también les damos, pero durante toda la semana les damos lo que tenemos. Normalmente tenemos muy poco, ahora estamos millonarios con la ayuda de ustedes. Bueno, que estoy muy agradecida por la ayuda que han dado y por el bien que se va a hacer a toda la gente que reciba esta donación. Y bueno, pues que sigan haciendo el bien y si pueden seguir ayudando, que sigan ayudando. Que yo los felicito por la tarea que hacen y por la labor que ejecutan a través de su iglesia.
Over in Southern Europe, the Ecclesiastical District of Italy North held a Care for Humanity event in Belluno, Veneto region, where 100 care packages were distributed to members of the Filipino community.
Maraming salamat sa pagpunta niyo dito sa please nabisita niyo kami. Bago sa tulong na ipinagkaloob po sa amin, maraming po salamat. Maraming tulong na dito para sa amin.
Guests also participated in free health checks, including weight and blood pressure assessments as part of the Health Watch program. The event featured a presentation about the Church's humanitarian efforts worldwide, musical performances and games, bringing both joy and relief to those in attendance. Likewise, in Italy South, the Brethren reached out to OFWs, offering care packages to assist them in their everyday needs.
Masaya po, malaking pasasalamat po sa Iglesia ni Cristo sa mga ganitong aktibidad po.
Finally, in the Mediterranean, the Church of Christ Care for Humanity outreach extended to the Filipino community here, continuing the global efforts to support those far from home.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to come.
Isang caregiver dito sa Jerusalem na naimbitahan. Happy ako.
And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on Net 25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you for joining us. Good night.